Hey, Cowboys Nation, listen up, because today we need to have a real conversation about what's going on with this team and, more importantly, what's coming next. The season is rolling along, and let's be honest, the defense has been struggling. There's no sugarcoating it. Games have been lost in large part because the defensive line hasn't been able to hold its ground. But here's the thing, there's finally a glimmer of hope on the horizon, and I'm talking about more than just players coming back from injury. I'm talking about potential moves that could actually impact the field immediately, the kind of moves that give a defensive coordinator a real shot at showing what he can do when he has the right pieces. Timing is everything. The trade deadline is just a few days away, and if the Cowboys want to make the most of this season and really see how their defense measures up, they need to act now. Waiting isn't an option. If you've been following along, you know the criticism of this defense is loud and justified. But the problem isn't just the players who are out there right now. It's the lack of talent and depth that has left the coordinator in a position where he can't fully implement his scheme. That's why bringing in reinforcements, even just a piece or two, isn't about turning the defense into an instant elite unit. It's about eliminating excuses and giving the team a fair chance to compete. Think about it this way. If the Cowboys bring back the 5 or 6 players who are coming off injury, that's already a boost. But those players alone won't solve all the issues. The difference comes from adding pieces that are ready to play at a high level and can immediately plug holes in the defense. It's not about trading away the farm or sacrificing future assets recklessly. It's about making smart, targeted moves to strengthen a defense that has been underperforming. You can take a mid-tier player, someone experienced, someone who knows the league, and suddenly the dynamic changes. Now, the linebackers can operate with more confidence. The secondary can cover more effectively, and the defensive coordinator finally has tools to work with, rather than trying to cobble together a rotation with practice squad guys or players who aren't fully healthy. This is critical not just for the short-term success of the team, but also for evaluating the coaching staff. The truth is, if the Cowboys continue to underperform defensively, it's easy for fans and critics to point fingers. They'll say the coordinator isn't capable, that the scheme doesn't work, or that the team is mismanaged. But that's only half the story. You can't fairly judge a coordinator if the talent in front of him isn't sufficient. That's why these potential moves are so important. They give the coaching staff a fair opportunity to demonstrate whether they can maximize the players they have. They allow the front office to evaluate the team realistically. If the defense still struggles after reinforcements, then the decisions become clearer. But without giving the coordinator proper resources, any criticism is incomplete. And let's get real. There's a lot of noise from fans who want to sit players out or just accept losses as part of some long-term plan. I get it. Some people are thinking, why rush? Let's just tank a few games, save ourselves some trouble, and look at the bigger picture. But that kind of thinking is exactly what can sabotage a long-term plan. If your goal is to build a team capable of winning a Super Bowl over a 4-year window, wasting a year or even a season and a half without testing your systems under real conditions is reckless. Every week matters. Every game is an opportunity to see how the team responds, to test the coordinators, and to figure out what really works. The sooner the Cowboys start filling these gaps, the sooner we can evaluate if the pieces they've put together can actually succeed at the highest level. Now, I'm not saying that adding 1 or 2 defensive linemen will automatically turn this into an elite defense. That's not realistic. But what it does do is create a scenario where the coaching staff has fewer excuses. When you finally have healthy starters and key reinforcements playing together, the coordinator's job is to make them succeed. He has to show that the scheme can work with real NFL talent, that the rotations make sense, and that he can adjust and maximize performance. That's the only way to evaluate a coach fairly. Without this, fans are left guessing, and that's unfair to both the team and the coaching staff. And here's the other part. Mid-season trades or acquisitions aren't as disruptive as some might think, especially for positions like the defensive line. Unlike skill positions that require extensive knowledge of the playbook, a defensive lineman can come in, understand his assignment, and immediately contribute. That's why targeting these positions makes sense. It's a calculated move that can produce immediate results without destabilizing the team. If the Cowboys act quickly, they can add a player who changes the dynamic up front, allows more creativity in the pass rush, and gives the linebackers a better chance to execute. Suddenly, the entire defense looks more cohesive. Meanwhile, the fan base has to resist distractions. Stop comparing the Cowboys to other teams. Stop using what other franchises are doing as a benchmark for failure. The reality is, every team operates differently. Every roster has its strengths and weaknesses, and the context matters. The focus has to stay on the Cowboys, on what the team can control, and on giving the coaching staff a fair chance to prove themselves. It's not about blaming ownership or pointing fingers at the front office for every perceived misstep. It's about assessing what's in front of us, identifying the holes, and taking action to address them. The sooner that happens, the clearer the picture becomes for the rest of the season. If the Cowboys can execute these strategic moves now, they can see the defense in a new light. We can finally evaluate whether the coordinator has what it takes, whether the scheme is viable, and whether the team has the pieces to compete at a high level. That's what this is all about, creating a realistic environment to measure performance. Not excuses, not distractions, not hypotheticals. Real football, real players, real results. And that's exactly the kind of clarity Cowboys Nation needs heading into the critical stretch of the season. Now, let's dive deeper into what this all could mean for the Cowboys moving forward. Because the truth is, talent acquisition at this stage of the season isn't just about plugging holes. It's about sending a message, both to the players on the field and to the fans watching at home. Bringing in a defensive lineman or adding a veteran presence immediately elevates the expectation level. It signals that the front office isn't just observing. It's actively shaping the roster to give the coaching staff the best chance to succeed. This is critical because, right now, the defensive coordinator is working with a patchwork group that hasn't had the stability or the depth to really execute his vision. If reinforcements come in and the defense still struggles, then it's an honest evaluation of his system and his ability to adapt. But if nothing is done, any struggles will always come with a built-in excuse: lack of talent, injuries, or insufficient depth. That doesn't provide answers, it just prolongs frustration. And let's be realistic, the defensive line is the easiest place to make an immediate impact. Unlike other positions where chemistry and understanding the playbook take weeks to build, a defensive lineman can come in, understand his assignment, and instantly influence the game. That's why targeting these positions makes sense for mid-season acquisitions. You're not overhauling the team. You're giving it a boost that can change the dynamic of every down. With the right addition, suddenly the linebackers aren't facing double teams every snap. The secondary gets more help in coverage, and the defense can actually show flashes of what we expected at the start of the season. The domino effect is huge, and it starts right up front. Now, imagine if the Cowboys pull this off and get a player like Quinnen Williams. A guy like that isn't just a body on the field, he's a game changer. His ability to collapse pockets, disrupt the run, and create pressure instantly elevates everyone around him. Pair him with the current core, Collins, OSA, Clark, and the defensive front becomes versatile. You can rotate players, run exotic fronts, and adjust to any offensive formation. Suddenly, the team isn't just reacting, it's dictating. The linebackers can flow freely, the secondary isn't constantly on high alert, and the entire defensive identity changes. That's what mid-season acquisitions can do when they're smart and calculated. They don't just fill a gap, they transform the team. And here's where the conversation shifts from talent to accountability. When the Cowboys finally put the right pieces on the field, the defensive coordinator can't hide behind excuses anymore. He has to prove he can manage a competent roster, that he can adapt, and that his scheme works with legitimate NFL talent. This is about fairness and transparency. The team needs clarity on whether this coaching staff can deliver under optimal conditions. Without making these moves, you're essentially handicapping the evaluation process. You're leaving it up to speculation and fan conjecture, which doesn't help anyone. The players, the staff, and even the fans deserve to see the system in its best light, and that starts with giving the roster what it needs to compete. And make no mistake, this isn't about turning the defense into a juggernaut overnight. It's about creating the conditions for growth and testing the limits of the current scheme. You add the right pieces, you get players healthy, and then you see how they perform together. That's when you find out if the coordinator is making the right calls, if the rotations make sense, and if the adjustments he implements actually work in real time. This isn't theory, it's football. And in the NFL, results are the ultimate metric. When players are aligned with the scheme and playing at full capacity, you get answers. Without those answers, everything is speculation, and speculation doesn't win football games. Now, while we're talking about potential additions, let's also touch on the mental aspect of the team. Bringing in reinforcements sends a message that the organization isn't complacent. It tells the locker room that the front office is invested, that they believe the team can compete, and that no matter what happened earlier in the season, they're committed to improving. That energy translates to performance. Confidence in the locker room matters just as much as talent on the field. Players need to know that their coaches and management are supporting them with resources and aren't settling for mediocrity. That belief often manifests as sharper execution, more aggressive play, and a higher level of discipline, all of which can change outcomes in close games. And speaking of outcomes, let's not forget the importance of continuity and timing. The Cowboys are at a critical point in the season. Every game from here on matters, and every defensive snap is a test of how much progress has been made. If you wait too long to address deficiencies, you lose opportunities to evaluate properly, and you risk entering the postseason or missing it entirely without truly understanding the team's potential. The reality is, this is the window. The clock is ticking, and the team needs to make its moves now. Waiting just sets the stage for more frustration and unanswered questions. Finally, this all ties into the larger philosophy of being a Cowboys fan. Watching this team isn't just about winning a Super Bowl or seeing a perfect record. It's about understanding the process, seeing talent develop, and witnessing football played at a high level. The front office has the ability to shape outcomes, and by making strategic moves at the right time, they're giving the coaching staff the tools to maximize the talent on the roster. That's how progress is measured, not by excuses, not by hypothetical what-ifs, but by real on-field performance. And when the right players are in place, we get to see the team for what it truly is, which is exactly what Cowboys Nation deserves. Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. Whispers are swirling around AT&T Stadium, and it seems the tension in the Cowboys camp is reaching a boiling point. Sources close to the team hint at a dramatic clash of wills between quarterback Dak Prescott and offensive coordinator Shane Schottenheimer, a power struggle that could be shaping the fate of Dallas' season. Insiders suggest Prescott is increasingly frustrated with what he perceives as overly cautious play calling. He wants to take risks, push the limits, and really open the playbook, one anonymous source told us. But Schottenheimer keeps hitting the brakes. It's creating real tension on the headset. According to reports, Prescott has been urging more aggressive plays, signaling deep shots downfield even in high-pressure situations. He's reportedly asking for a bolder offensive approach, trying to force momentum when the Cowboys need it most. Meanwhile, Schottenheimer is said to be digging in his heels. The coordinator, known for his methodical and conservative style, reportedly believes the team should stick to a disciplined game plan, minimizing turnovers and maintaining structure. But this cautious approach seems to be testing Prescott's patience. There's a growing disconnect between them, a source claimed. It's subtle at first, but everyone in the locker room feels it. You can see it in how Dak communicates on the field. Fans and analysts are starting to notice as well. Sideline footage from recent games allegedly shows heated discussions over play calls, with Prescott gesturing emphatically and Schottenheimer calmly shaking his head. The debate over risk versus caution is no longer just a behind-the-scenes story. It's bleeding into the public eye, feeding speculation that the quarterback might push for more autonomy on game day. While neither Prescott nor Schottenheimer has commented publicly, insiders hint that the Cowboys' upcoming matchups could be telling. Will Prescott finally get the green light to air it out and chase those big plays? Or will Schottenheimer's steady hand prevail, keeping Dallas locked in a controlled, methodical approach? For now, the rumor mill is running at full speed, and the tension in the Cowboys headset might just be the juiciest storyline of the season. That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.